Hi guys, today this video will be dedicated to the Corona hoax, and the reason why I'm doing this is because you have to understand what this Corona hoax is about. It's about money, money, and more money. Here's the problem. At the end of 2019, the world market was tanking. A lot of businesses closed in the United States. We have a huge housing bubble that was about to pop. So what these evil people did, is they decided to, let's crash the world market, let's bring down the value of everything, okay, let's wipe out all the gains, restart over. And this way we can start monetary policy and fiscal policies based on the virus, not on the fact that our economy is tanking. Canada already did this, the United States already did this with lowering the interest rates, and now all of a sudden countries over the world have billions to spend for stimulus, yet before they never spent it. So let's look at the loss that it was since 2016. So basically, all the gains in the stock market from 2016 are lost. Here's the amount of the loss. So you know what, this is the actual theft that is coronavirus. So the coronavirus stole 1.5 trillion from the stock market. That's what this was, the whole thing was about, okay? So in total, $11.5 trillion is lost. Now, people don't think that, well, it was just overvalued. Some of it, yes, but a lot of it is real tied to pensions, trades, to investments, to pension systems from countries who invest in the stock market. It's been wiped out. So the question is now, is what's going to happen to pension systems that are invested in this? Okay, the entire stock market lost $11.5 trillion. Think about that number. That is scary to see that. So now, all of a sudden, the United States and the Federal Reserve, especially, is pumping out billions of dollars, and, to help out companies. So they're spending $200 billion doing this. But that money is tied to taxpayers. Okay, and so is this one. All the stuff that you see, all these losses, are always tied to real value based on taxpayers, on their output, because these investors don't lose these trillions. They're secured, okay? So our friend here, Mr. Trump, is telling us, tough luck, man, you just lost on the stock market. Invest better. Because he's not stupid. He knows the pump and dump game. He played it himself many times. That's why he got to where he is. He knows when to sell and when to come back next day and buy. So if you look at the stock market itself, the stock market was up and down one day. The next day, people come in and buy it again. So basically, it's a pump and dump. And in here, you can see now of what this hoax was about. That's what this thing was about. Restart the world economy. Okay. Don't call it a housing bubble. Call it just, well, we did it because of the virus, so we had to lower the interest rates. Okay, now let's look at some other important facts about this virus and why it somehow infected the stock market. So we're going to look at the coronavirus stats first before we look at another stat. Unfortunately, people don't like to talk about it, but we have to look at it. Okay, now I looked for the coronavirus update so you can see exactly what I searched. And here it is. So far we have coronavirus cases. We have 134,748, and we have deaths of 4,983. That's what we have so far. Recovered 70,000. All right. Now, don't mind the threes all over the place here, but we'll go ahead and look at those numbers as they are. We go here and we'll go back and forth to it so you know. Okay, and here's the bar graph as the cases grew. Okay. Now we're going to look at another chart that's, we don't like to talk about it. People don't like to talk about this because it's, they might have somebody who's affected by this, but we have to talk about it because it's very important, because this somehow doesn't touch this, has no effect on this, but somehow this has effect on that. So we have to discuss why. Okay, now if you look at this is the number of deaths by cause world 1990. So this is a bar graph of what type of diseases people died from. We have to look at this because we have to look at the scam that they're pulling on the stock market. So we had 11.94 million people from cardiovascular diseases alone. We should stop right there, and we should not even look at anything else. We should just look at that blue line there to understand the gravity of the situation. In 1990, almost 12 million people couldn't buy, couldn't sell, couldn't invest, couldn't buy cars, couldn't buy houses, couldn't buy merchandise in the stores. They could not provide wealth to the country. In this case, it's the entire world, okay? So these people stopped creating wealth. You would think that these people would have a severe impact on the stock market, but they didn't. In fact, they had none. We look at cancers here. We have 5.75 million people. This is 1990, okay? We're not talking about in 2020. The numbers that are coming up are very scary for 2020. We can see that there's something not right here. So we're looking at over 16 million people right now that disappeared in 1990 that stopped creating wealth for the world. And they had no impact on the stock market. When 4,900 people lose $11.5 trillion of the stock market. Let's look at those numbers again. 4,900 people, okay, made the stock market lose $11.5 trillion. Yet somehow in 1990, 12 million people had no impact on the stock market in 1990. The stock market in 1990, with that amount of people, would be completely collapsed, would be in a depression, still be in it. So you know that this is a hoax, because if you look at the numbers of people and wealth that they can create and contribute, these people are surely going to be missed because they can't contribute to the countries anymore. Okay, there's no more wealth created by them. So let's look at this number again so it can be repeated into your head. 4,900 people somehow made the stock market lose $11.5 trillion, but in 1990, just of cardiovascular diseases, 12 million people had no effect on the stock market. Zero. They had absolutely zero effect on it. Let's look a few years after. Let's look at 2017 here. And, let's move it up here. One thing that I want you to see is how this thing proceeded. It just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. Okay. And in 2017, that's the latest stat that we have there. We are now at almost 18 million people dying from cardiovascular diseases. We went from 12 to almost 18. Okay? So we got a rape. This is just absolutely insane. So we went from 12 to 18. We added 6 million people more to the list. What this means is we have now 6 million people that disappeared that can't contribute. In total, we have almost 18 million people that cannot contribute anymore to the wealth of the world, which means they would have a severe impact on the stock market. A huge impact, because these people can't create wealth anymore. They can't buy, they can't sell, they can't buy cars, they can't buy houses. Nothing. They can't do anything. So we look at cancers. We're almost at 10 million people here in 2017. We're at 3.91 million for respiratory diseases, and the list keeps going on. You can see the list here. So terrorism killed 26,000 people in 2017. So shouldn't we be going after terrorism as a bigger problem, as a bigger pandemic than this? It's funny how, if you look here, in 2017, 26,000 people who supposedly died by terrorism had zero effect on the stock market. And so did cancers, respiratory diseases, lower respiratory infections, everything here. None of these people had any direct effect on the stock market. In 2020, we have these people somehow affecting $11.5 trillion of loss. So I'm not going to make the math because it'll be unfair to do that. But if you divide 11.5 trillion by these people, each one of these numbers equals how much money was stolen from the stock market. So the total number right now of cases is 134,748. Deaths 4,983. Recovered 70,383. Okay. Now there's a lot of threes here, 3-3 and 3-3. There's your two double 33s. But in general terms, we're looking at what they're pulling on us. Okay, they're telling us that 4,900 people are the reason why we lost $11.5 trillion of the stock market value, when in 2017 we lost more than 17, 18, 10, 28, 30 million people here. There's more than 35 million people here. And none of those people had a direct effect on the stock market. 35 million people died in 2017 from these diseases. And none of them had a direct effect on the stock market at that time. So now you know what this whole thing was about. It was a hoax on the stock market. It was a way to steal trillions. Right now you have the NBA. You also have the NHL hockey games being canceled. All these games, okay, and entertainment are being secured. They're told they're going to be okay because this is where the money's coming from to pay for all this. Now you know. So the NHL canceled the season. Okay, and I'm going to bring up the page here so you can see it. Okay, so NHL suspends its season. Are you telling me that the NHL owners of the teams will lose billions by closing the season in the NBA? Listen, they're being paid from this scam. $11.5 trillion pays a lot of these teams. They'll be fine. They'll be taken care of. But again, the numbers. Look at the numbers and follow the money. Do you think the 4,900 people would directly affect 11.5 trillion loss of the stock market? Of course not. Neither did these 35 million people. It's unfortunate to look at these numbers because it's very scary, and you might know somebody who's affected by this, so I apologize if I have to show this to you, but we do have to look at these numbers. They're very important to look at that because now we can use these numbers to say this is a hoax, and it was a way to restart the world economy by resetting everything in the stock market and eliminating $11.5 trillion of what people earned and they lost. Okay, so all this market evaluation here was completely wiped out from the stock market. So basically, starting from 2016, since this guy took office, all of it's lost. I want you to just be careful with this because this is going to get worse. And I know that Trump has put in a travel ban. So I'm going to go here so you can see what we're talking about. So it's a European travel ban, and if you're an American, you can still come through. So it's really, cloak and dagger stuff with this because it doesn't stop the imports of products. So people who build these products in Europe could be infecting the products coming here. So this is a complete, ridiculous hoax. So just keep an eye on this. It's going to get worse, and these numbers don't lie. They might be inflated, but we can use these numbers to completely demolish this scam. Okay? Because again, I ask you, how could 4,900 people affect a loss of $11.5 trillion, yet 35 million people have absolutely no direct effect in 2017? Would be in severe depression right now if they did have an effect. Okay, thanks for watching, and I appreciate you paying attention to these videos. They're very important to watch. I tend to just show basic information that you can look at. That way you can see this stuff for yourself. Again, this is not going to stop. It's going to get worse. And even leaders and actors are getting infected by this now somehow. So take care and have a good day.